I stopped watching news because of these very depressing items.
Today, Martha Koome made a very important confession. And I must say, for once I felt like she was honest about this one. And this is what she said. She doesn't watch the news. I've always ever wondered, do the politicians ever watch the news with the rest of us? How do they feel like when they see some of these things happening, like people are so desperate? Don't they feel anything inside of them when there are news that are being broadcast in the country that somebody cannot go to school because they can't afford it, or people are sleeping angry because they don't have anything to eat? I've always wondered. But what Martha Koome said today was very interesting and shocking at the same time. And she said this. She doesn't watch the news because it reminds her of how unequal we are. I mean, given her status in the society at the moment, she's among the top people that receive a good salary, good allowance. She's living probably her best life. But she also spoke about it doesn't make any sense to watch the news and see a student appear there. And the student is saying, I did very well in school. I passed, I got an A-, and I can't go to the university because I'm placed in category 5. Category 5 means probably you are getting little loan. Category 1, somebody else is well off, but they are getting loan and a scholarship. So he says that kind of injustice and inequality is not something she can understand. She spoke about the bursary. We know that the judiciary made a ruling on the bursaries, and it was very clear. She said bursaries should be abolished. And she talked about why are members of parliament given bursaries? Why are women representatives given bursaries? Why are we giving governors bursaries to distribute? This money could be put together and channeled into education so that everybody can get free education, you know?
I stopped watching news because of these very depressing items that keep flashing to our faces to remind us how unequal and how unjust we are in our society. That a child who has qualified to go to the university can be there crying, saying, look, I've been put in bad 5. Is it bad 5? When I ought to be in bad 1, and therefore I cannot afford to go to the university. And when you follow, you find the child of a well-to-do family has been put in bad 1. When you follow, you also find that there is bursary fund given from the taxpayers' money, given to the governor, given to the women rep, given to the MP through CDF, given to the MCA. I hope none of them is here because they are going to lynch me. Now, all those bursaries, how are they disbursed? Why wouldn't you put them in education and make education free for all?
But I'm thinking about something. Somebody somewhere must be so psychopathic, and I'm thinking about there's a cadre of people within our country, especially within the leadership, that are psychopathic, because it makes no sense to distribute this money to members of parliament. I believe they do that because of their own self-interest, and this is where corruption comes in. First and foremost, when these members of parliament and women representatives, the governors are given this money, what do they do with the money? They enrich themselves. Then they distribute the rest of it to students. I cannot remember any time that anybody has ever been asked if they got money to account for that money. Probably they do account for that money, but we know our country has so corrupt people. Our leadership, our governance structure is very corrupt. So basically, I am thinking this money is distributed intentionally so that some of it can flow back to some people. Then you also find some members of parliament, and these people that are getting these bursaries, they will start projects. Some of the projects never get finished. Even some of the projects are overpriced. They will start a project and, let's say, for example, build one classroom. they may even start off the foundation, and then within their first term, in the second term, they will come back and say, please vote for me so that I can finish can finish the classroom. And people will find that sensible, like, okay, let's vote for this one that at least started the foundation to finish the school. If somebody else new comes in, that project probably is left hanging. That's why we have a lot of projects that were started and none of them was completed. So, with all this money getting distributed to members of parliament, to women reps, to governors, then we are not even sure. The money is lost on the way, such that it never gets distributed, because probably the women rep thinks the governor will distribute bursary because they also have money. And maybe the member of parliament is also thinking probably somebody else will do the distribution. So at the end of the day, people end up getting nothing. People end up getting nothing. We've seen the bursary being used to pass policies. We know the finance bill, these members of parliament were going to get an increased amount of money on the bursary based on the bursary allocation. That's why they were passing a law that was not friendly to the people. A bill that was going to be disadvantaging Kenyans. So, the reason why these people don't want us to have good education, healthcare, is also because there are people there who also do business in the education sector. They own schools and they want to continue owning schools. So imagine if the public sector education was provided, quality education was provided, what do you think that would do to the private sector? There will be not many people going to take their kids to the private schools. So there are people who have a lot of interest. So there is manufactured poverty to make everybody suffer, be desperate, especially those people that are very poor. When you deny somebody education, you deny them a chance to not only get an employment, but also a chance to use that education. Because education, whether you get a job or not, when you have that degree, your life is never the same. So this is what these manipulative and psychopathic leaders do. And they've held Kenyans hostage. That's the fact. Whether we want to look at it like that or not, it is really a big issue. So, you find these psychopathic leaders want to use this kind of manipulation to make people desperate, poor, because they know it is so easy to manipulate people that are poor. I've ever imagined myself, these leaders, when they go to those rural areas and they see so many poor people, the roads are not even properly made, and they stand their own car. Some of them have a chase of cars, and they stand there on top of that car and they are addressing people that are looking so poor. I've just always wondered, do they feel anything in their hearts? And I just think they lack the empathy. They can never associate themselves with what the poor people go through, because I don't think they watch news anyway, because they don't want to feel guilty about it. They don't want to see and say, I'm the cause of this problem. They just want to mask everything. So there are psychopathic tendencies to deceive people and mask their interest. When you see them campaigning, the way they come out to make people feel like they are going to fight for their interests, yet they know very well they are fighting for their own political interests. It's just baffling. So when Martha Koome says she doesn't watch the news, we can't say more. We can just say, for sure, there's no way you can watch those news and you think you are in a position to change, to provide change in the society, but it's like you can't do much. You can't watch those news. That's just the fact. So you guys, I don't know what you think, but leave us your comment in the comment section below.